Let's just bring it in.
Buckle up, kids, because it's time for the ham radio show your mother warned you about. Live from the Southern Idaho Command, it's Bob and the K6 UDA radio show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good to be back. I'm Bob K6 UDA, in case you don't know who the hell I am. Because last week I didn't know who the hell I was. Had the creeping crud. So, you know what? Monday rolled around last week and I just decided, you know what? Screw it. It's not like this is paying all the bills for me. So, just languished in bed. Anyway, got a big show for you today. Welcome to the K6 UDA live show where all your dreams can come true. And let's see, I've got camera number 2 up here, camera number 1 over here, looking really good. Over in the corner there is just a crappy little webcam, and then we look down here and everything is cool. All right. Let's see. Let me pull up my other screen here so I could tell what's going on here. Hey, let's see who's in the house. Marty, KM6PRA, first in the house, followed by my friend Don Arnold, W6GPS, who is standing by. Let's see. K0 SRE, greetings, and don't know where he's from. And let's see. Yeah, it is the crud is going around, and you know, they say everybody's gonna get it eventually. So it's not like vaccinations or staying indoors. Well, I guess sometimes staying indoors might get it. If you're a hermit and you never see anybody else, you might not get it. But I think I got it just by being out in the shop. It's been cold here. I got to tell you, it has been blizzard, icy, 20 degrees at night, getting up to 30 or so during the day. And I've been working on Studio B this week. So, or actually last week and this week, starting on Studio B. So that'll be something I'll kind of start updating you. I haven't decided how I really want to bring it about to you guys, because I don't want it to be boring. That's the last thing I want. But suffice it to say, excuse me, I got, let's see, we got the walls painted. I got everything cleaned out of there. So it is, now my nose is a little scratchy because I've been blowing my nose. Oh, well. So anyway, got the walls are painted in there. I got the compressor out. I've got everything out right now. I'm going to do some indoor outdoor carpet in there, but that was kind of in the works for this last week. And I had a jet heater to warm it up in there. But when I looked at the glue, the carpet glue, it said it had to be between 65 and 95 degrees in there for 72 hours. And there was no way that was going to happen. So the carpet is going to wait. But anyway, this is going to be a bitchin' little space here. It's a small space. It's 10 by 10 in my shop. So it'll be easy to heat and cool. Summertime, wintertime. It's gonna have, well, my Elecraft K-Line is going to be the star of the show out there. And it's going to be a full contest station as far as I can do it. I'm having a little trouble bringing internet into that outside space because it is a metal building. So it should suffice for right now, man. It makes a really good Faraday cage because nothing gets in or out there. Let's see. But anyway, pictures are forthcoming and some video of putting Studio B together is forthcoming. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, nice. Put really nice LED lighting into the ceiling. They're canless LEDs and the place with some white paint, man. The place looks like an operating room. It is just gonna be brilliantly light in there. If I want it, I can shut off 2 of the lights. I've got, just 4 of these cans in there. I could shut off 2 of them, dim it down a little bit, and it's still very, very light, very usable just with 2 lights in there. And I'm going to do, of course, some of this fun stuff in Studio B. Let's see, what else do we have here on the stack of stuff? You know what? Here's something here. I had this gal send me a book, asked me, hey, I know you've been working on learning Morse code, and here's her new book, Learn Morse Code, Easy Tutorial Workbook for Beginners. This is by Rachel Mintz. Yep, Rachel Mintz. She sent me an email, just, said, hey, I think this might help you. It's made for kids, and it's got, here, let's just put that down here, and we'll go over to camera number 3 or 4. So, all kinds of exercises here. And hopefully some of this stuff helps me learn Morse code. I've got a few other tricks up my sleeve. That's something that I kind of decided this year, 2022. I kind of want to make this happen. I want to make CW happen for me. And my goal is to take you guys along for the ride and hopefully teach you to teach me to learn a little bit of CW. And this book, it just may help. I mean, it's definitely written at my level. So you can use QR codes, and let's see, QR codes there. You see, here's QR, and oh yeah, so isn't that cool? So you just point your smartphone there. Point your smartphone at the book or at the letter you want, and it goes ahead and says, "Hey, here's the letter." Very cool. Let's see other things in the stack of stuff today. All kinds of cool stuff. Yeah. Hey, what was it, last week or the week before now? Did a video on some antenna losses, and I stand by it because I don't know any better. Let's see. Wow. 17 people on the stream, 7 thumbs up. Let's see if we can't boost that up. So anyway, very simple. I have over here in behind me, I've got the my MFJ power meter, which goes out, comes, well, let's see. From the 7300 over here into external tuner, and from the external tuner into the power meter, SWR meter, and then finally out to the antenna that's hanging. Now, I did a video a couple of weeks ago, I guess, and in that video, I demonstrated how when I'm transmitting in see, I told you you're gonna get a little bit of crud. When I transmitted at 100% duty cycle, and this was in digital mode, if the antenna wasn't tuned correctly or there was a mismatch, and because of my weather, I'm getting some mismatches. Now, I don't know. This could be Feedline. I had guys telling me, oh, no, you're all wrong. It's not coming out, or it's not coming out and just getting absorbed. And I never said it was getting absorbed. I just said that it was not giving me, it's not putting out the power that I set the radio for, or that I thought that I would be getting. If I set the radio at, say, 40 watts, and I've got a 4 to 1 SWR, I could be losing up to 20 watts. Well, guys much smarter than me jumped on there and told me, nope, you're wrong. It's Feedline loss. Well, it could be. Most of my Feedline is 450 ohm ladder line. And I understand there's no Feedline loss on 450 ohm open line. But there is some coax out there. There is a few feet of coax. And so, yes, that could be part of my problem there. But, and I invite you guys, here's where I want to invite you smart guys, to explain this to me. Come on the show. And let's see. Let me put up. There we go. So, if you're so inclined and you would like to school me, the call lines are open. And I get it. Somebody said something about that it bounces back and forth and does all. It just didn't make any sense to me whatsoever, because that would if it's bouncing back and forth in some kind of an infinite loop or something, that would say that my signal is bouncing back and forth and keep trying to go out, but it's not. So I whatever you guys were talking about, if you want to school me here on the show right now, the call lines are open. I'm looking for calls. You can actually come on and be a guest right now. If you want to break COVID and be here on the show. Yeah. You could break my COVID restrictions. Let's see. What else? What else are we going to talk about today? Man, 14 after. Let's get into some of the comments. Wow, not a whole lot in the comment section right now. Let's see. Steve Eden, K0SRE from Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. How cool. And Steve, you know what? Mrs. K6UDA and we've been watching Ozark. So hopefully that show is just like spot on. And they're representing the Ozarks in fine fashion there. Let's see. Phil Boo, USA from KB50U or BOU, the French cowboy from Houston. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Nope. I thought that might have been somebody coming on the show, but no. Bernard Colada says he just ordered a copy on Amazon. Yeah, this book here, Learn Morse Code, is on Amazon. I didn't put a link in there yet. I will eventually post a link here, but I told her I'd give her a shout out here. And let's see, I forget how much the book was, but it's probably not very expensive. And hey, you know what? If it helps me learn some CW, this thing will be completely worth it. Let's see. Yeah. Hey, the comment section is starting to look alive here. Let's see. Okay, Mary says that high SWR. Oh. High SWR on the radio. Wow. Give me a second. Focus, Bob. Focus. Causes the radio wave to be reflected back at the transmitter, causing heat and loss in the coax. She fights it by using a remote tuner at the antenna. Now, I don't have the luxury of being able to put my tuner at the antenna because my antenna is actually suspended between two trees out there. But yeah, and I get that. But what I didn't get was this whole, and man, I should go and try to find one of these comments from that last video, and maybe somebody here can explain what the hell. There was like 2 or 3 guys that said, nope, you're all wrong. This is what it's doing. And I was like, yeah, you lost me. You lost me. I've never said that I am the smartest tool in the shed. Never said that I am the ham radio expert. I'm just another guy enjoying the hobby just like you are, and trying to make sense of everything. Let's see. The meter. Okay, so Paul Samoha. He says, the meter does not measure the power. It measures the voltage. And to recalculate it to power, assuming the source is 50 ohms. If you put the meter after the tuner, then the source is not 50 ohms. Well, yes, actually the source, if it comes out of the tuner and into the meter itself, that would still be at 50 ohms. I don't know how it wouldn't, because it's all 50 ohm coax going to that. Now coming back from the antenna into the meter there, that might not be 50 ohms. And that probably isn't 50 ohms. But going out would be 50 ohms. Coming back in from the antenna, I get it. Not 50 ohms. Let's see. I don't know. Powell. Correct me if I'm wrong. But going out is still 50 ohms because everything in line there is still a 50 ohm match. Coming back is where you must be talking about. I'm thinking. Don't know. Let's see. Steve Eden. It's fiction with some real locations thrown in. Okay. So is the bell and the trailer park still there? And if you're not a Ozark fan, oh well, you'll get it someday. Let's see. Let's see. Greetings from Coronado. From Colorado. Colorado. There we go. Velocity factor. Okay. So, Dawn is saying something about the velocity factor of, and that would be the more that, oh man, see, this makes my brain hurt. That's the speed at which the energy or the electrons in the cable or in the antenna can move, and the resistance, I think. It's got something to do with resistance. I don't know. It's all freaking magic to me. It just works. I'm not, like I said, I'm not like some scientist dude, and I don't care to be the scientist dude. Garrett's in the house, and he's once again, show me on this doll where the internet hurt you. Of course, it hurt me. It hurt me here, right here. Let's see. So let's go to camera number 2. And nobody wants to be on the show. It's amazing. Nobody wants to say hi. Just jump in. Let's see. Mary. Mary's one of my smart friends here. And another way to limit it is to use the lowest loss coax you can afford. FSJ4, 50 dB hardline. See, LMR 400, and that's what I'm using is LMR 400 out there. Here's the problem. I've got like 25 feet of it. It's negligible. Everything else is ladder line. The biggest thing I could think of, and here we go. We got my buddy Don, and give me a second. Don, are you on the air?
I'm on the air on the phone.
You are on the air on the phone. How you doing? Hey guys, my buddy Don, W6GPS, with us live on the air. How you doing, my friend?
Well, I'm actually going to my police dispatching job. I sound just as bad as you do. On my other job, I deliver vehicles, and so last week I went to Duluth, so to deliver a brand new Mercedes-Benz Sprinter FedEx van.
I saw that picture. That was cool.
I'm going to do that again on Wednesday, so I might even put a radio on the vehicle. I have to think about that one. I kind of miss what the conundrum is, but there is a velocity factor, and we had this problem with the when I was in the Air Force, we were using SATCOM, and so they used coax, the MRG 213 or 215, and the military satellites were up there in the 300 megahertz range, and we put 100 watts in, and we get like 50 watts out on a 100-foot run is what I needed to put in a helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
I told the shop chief, I said, what you need to do is you need to use something like hardline, because, and again, there are people more technically inclined in that, but there is some capacitive reactance going on in the cable. So, and I said it also affects the receive. And the shop chief kind of poo-pooed on me, but I had more experience with HF than any of those guys in special operations. So we used hardline for our SATCOM, and the wattage went from 50 watts to almost 90 watts. But he wouldn't believe me. But we also got better reception, because there is some reactance, there is some resistance in that cable. And if you have better cable with a lower velocity factor,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to get a better signal. You're going to get better power to the 50 ohm SATCOM antenna. But the other thing is the reception was better. And when you have an encrypted signal, you need all the reception you can. So back to, you have your radio, you have a watt meter, and you have a tuner. So you're going to have 50 watts coming through the meter, going to the tuner. The system wants to look at that 50 ohms on the input of the tuner. Then what happens is, if you're tuning it not at the antenna feed, but you're kind of tuning the feed line. The 50 ohms that final wants to see is happy, and it's just going to put out, and the way radio is going to work efficiently. But again, if you have a high impedance or a high SWR, the reflected power is, your output power is going to be lower. And I experienced this when I was doing the Outbacker antennas. We had to add some inductance on one band, to make the 50 ohms happy. Although on 75 meters, there's a big, there was a lot of, not a lot going on the output, even though it saw 50 ohms, it was just too small of an antenna. So I guess what I'm saying is, you want the radio to be happy, and it's chugging along, going through the tuner, and then you tune it. But what we found on my experience, like with aircraft tuners, is if you tune it at the feed line, then the output power is dispersed better. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And really, what I was just illustrating was, the fact that, hey, when you put your tuner in line, all it's doing is fooling the transceiver into thinking that everything is happy. And so it's not, the radio itself isn't folding back, and it's not absorbing the heat from the mismatch in the antenna.
That's correct.
And that's all I know. And that's the extent of, K6 UDA knowledge.
Right. But the thing is if your impedance is 45 or 50 ohms, like on the mobile antennas, that was the ideal thing, was to get like 48 to 50 ohms, 45 ohms at the feed point. Then you're going to get more throughput, more signal coming out of the antenna, so to speak, or bouncing off the antenna.
Right.
So, but the difference between 100 watts and 50 watts is hardly anything. So everybody would make such a big deal about my antenna is a 1.1 per a 1.5 versus a 1.1. Well, that's so. I mean, the power difference is so minuscule. But people, we're all plurists. We're hams. We're plurists. Got to be 1.1. Especially, some of my most. What am I trying to say? Some of my most radical people that I ever encountered in ham radio, and that's mobile HFers, because they have so many obstacles against them, and boy, if they could squeeze that 0.5 SWR, they're going to be feeling more confident, feeling good. So anyway, that's why I like the bug catchers, the big bug catchers. They were so much better because the feed point impedance is going to be at 50 ohms versus the Outbacker was like 25 ohms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the power just, the RF just turned into heat. I've had antennas, guys were driving them pretty hard, and they start melting down because it's the heat, because there is that speed point resistance that is creating this bottleneck in this heat. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, no, I get it that the mismatch itself, or the reflected power, has to come back as something, and so that's what builds the heat.
That's correct.
Yes, that part I get.
Yeah. So what is it you don't get?
You know what? And I didn't screenshot the comments from that last video a couple of weeks ago on that. And there was a couple of guys that said, no, this is what is going on. You're wrong. And I still don't know. I mean, basically, I don't think I'm wrong. I'm probably not 100% right. But my understanding, you use a tuner and you're fooling the radio. So beyond the tuner, the antenna isn't getting tuned by the tuner. The antenna is what it is, right? And so if the antenna is out of whack, all it is the tuner is telling the radio, you're okay. Everything's okay. Just keep playing. Right?
Right. But if you have a tuner at the feed point, the reactance, the capacitive reactance that's going on with the tuner allows a better output signal.
Okay. But you would need a tuner at the feed point of the antenna, that's
correct.
Not 25 feet beyond that. Right.
And the ladder line basically allows some RF emission.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some RF going on out there, and it's kind of getting out there. But you get these guys sailboats with an insulated backstay, and they have a cable that they have it insulated at their backstay to hold their mast. But they also are using it as a tuner, and you put the tuner right at the feed point. It'll knock the socks off anything.
Oh yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Right.
When you have a tuner, and it's feeding the ladder line, yeah, it's going to work, but it's not going to work nearly as much or better unless you have the tuner right at the feed point.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get that. I've never actually really played with a tuner at the feed point. And, it'd be fun, but to me, I don't think it would be very practical.
Well, you'd be surprised you get a nice SGC tuner
Mm-hmm.
or an ICOM tuner, get you bunches of wire out there. You'd be surprised how good it is. Of course, then if you have a certain length of cable that's a harmonic of like 75 meters, 21 meters, 10 meters, a harmonic wavelength, then it's going to be more efficient because the signal will tune. Well, it's kind of like the tuning fork. Is it that cable is tuned to that wavelength, and it's going to be more more RF is going to disperse. And I do apologize for my voice. I was up there in Minnesota, it was 14 below zero. I was totally improperly dressed. I had no gloves, and I had my summer khakis on, and it was 14 below, and I got prepared for the next trip. So I'm prepared for the next trip.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've been out in my shop, and it's been between 20 and 30 degrees, and that didn't do me any good. So, you know what? Last week I ended up in bed sick.
And and I'll say antenna theory in ham radio. Antenna theory is probably, to me, because I was dealing with mobile antennas, is probably one of the most interesting and most radical, debatable topics. And then when it comes down to it, people that they want to spend put 1,000 watts through a mobile antenna versus 100 watts, it may sound just a tad better, but it's worth all that frustration to do that. And the same at the house.
Right.
He's got 100 watts with a very good antenna, but if he has 1,000 watts with a very good antenna, yeah, he'll probably sound a little better. But the guy that wants to spend buku money for a big amplifier because he can put out 10,000 watts, I don't think there's that much difference between 2,000 watts and 10,000 watts.
Yeah.
On the decibel scale. So.
Yeah.
But you got my old Outbacker antenna debate going, because I had all sorts of debates about the helical antenna, but the thing about it was what the Outbacker antenna did, that it's not a trade secret, but what they did was unique, where you had the taps, you had they added capacitance to the signal. So the capacitance and the inductance for that section of the antenna would be a perfect resonant speed point. And that was something that Terry at Outbacker did that the other multi-tap antennas don't have.
Oh, okay.
It does make a difference. And what they did is they added a little tuning piece of wire that they would slide up and down so that they would get that reactance working real good at the tap. And that's why if you ever see an Outbacker antenna and you see these little nodules, these little round things where the tap point, just above the tap point, that's actually a coil of wire that's moving up and down like a little a variable coil to tune that thing. I mean, they're hand tuned. They take forever to make. That's why they were probably one of the best mobile antennas out there. Buckmaster has them, but they're good. The Buckmaster is good, but they don't have that little tuning capacitance that Terry from Outbacker, and he's the only one that has it.
Okay.
Again, it's not a trade secret. It's not a trade secret, but that goes back to having the antenna tuned at the point of the feed point. And so on the mobile antenna Outbacker, there was on 20 meters, we had, because of the the long perf antenna, you needed the feed point impedance was like 25 ohms. So we had to add inductance at the bottom. That's why on the perf you have there's a place where you actually tap a little base coil in to make things work. But the Outbacker perf, because it's so long and has such a long width, it has such tap a great mobile antenna.
Okay. See, you're kind of over my head. You lost me about halfway through that. But anyway, my friend.
I'm sorry. All right, I'm going to let you go. I'm about ready to get to my dispatching job.
Okay, my friend. Hey, good to talk to you, and let's catch up soon. All right.
Have a good one.
All right, 7-3.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
73.
All right. So, hey, Dawn explained it. I still, it's. I tell you guys, I keep telling you, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. So, or not the sharpest. So, a lot of that goes over my head. If I could see it, I could do it. I could understand it better. When I'm there, when somebody's actually showing me something, then I get it a lot better. Ooh. Okay. Let's get back to a couple of comments here. The ham radio hobo in the house. That black snake called coaxial cable is a thief misconception. Okay. Very cool. I like that. I'll have to steal that sometime. Yeah. And like I said, I use as little of the coax as I possibly can, because I do know that that's where a lot of the losses come. Now, is that where a lot of my losses come when it's snowing and when things are changing? And that's kind of where I was a couple of weeks ago when I shot that video. It was snowing and it was sitting on my antenna. Now you've got water on an antenna on a piece of metal, and I think that does possibly change things in and of itself. 25 feet of coax. I don't know how much or little that's going to affect, but it can. I guess it can. But anyway, I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to school me on this, because, like I said, don't understand a lot of it. It's way beyond these brain cells. Let's see. So who else is in the house? AZAV8 RAA. The good thing about having the tuner at the antenna is it removes the losses you would see on the coax running back out to the antenna. See, now that's where I kind of figured, and hell, maybe I'm still wrong, is the losses that I'm seeing up here when my tuner is down here. My tuner's over here. Once it goes out of there and outside to the antenna, I'm thinking that's kind of a closed loop, there to there, because it's no longer coming back here to the tuner. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. But I'm sure somebody, one of you smart guys, will tell me. Let's see. Let's see. Can I boost the phone audio? I thought I did. And was that not, hey, if we get another phone call, is that not the last part of, or the most of that? Was it not loud enough? Let me know. Mary Brown, it was 100%. Let's see. Now all you have is whatever loss specified for the cable at that frequency. Very simple explanation of adding capacitance. It is, as it shortens the antenna, adding inductance lengthens it. Okay. Yeah, man, a lot of this theory, I'm like, I just forgot. After I took the tests, I kind of went, gone. I'm done. Water on ladder line can alter SWR. That's what I thought. And that was my concern, was the water on the ladder line. Well, having snow built up on it is water. And that's what I thought was my problem. But we'll see. Water on an antenna usually lowers the resonant frequency. Common issue on VHF plus Yagis. Tune for higher up the band to compensate for wet days. Okay. Good to know. I'll give that a shot too. Let's see. And my tuner, man, Mary, you could call in and just tell me all this too. Your tuner may be seeing 200 ohms. My meter is spec'd to work at 50 ohms, so it is not accurate reading. It is not an accurate power reading. Okay. Well then, why? Let's see, if my tuner is seeing 200 ohms. I'm way in over my head right now. Way over my head. Yeah. The meter needs to be between the radio and tuner. But if the meter is between the radio and the tuner, then, well, I guess I could try it. Hey, you know what? At some point, maybe I'll try that, and we'll see. We'll see if that makes a difference. It'll be an interesting experiment, if nothing else. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? On the things, we have another patch for the wall of ham radio heroes. This one belongs to Sergeant Matt Peterson, San Bernardino Sheriff's Office. He is he wrote me a quick little note here, and he asked. He's currently a sergeant with San Bernardino SO, and getting ready to retire in the next couple of years. Congratulations on making it, my brother. And he sent me a patch. His wife got him a pair of Bofang UV5Rs for Christmas. Now he's deciding where to go equipment wise. Any suggestions that you have for a new ham for a base station, mobile station would be great. Well, it kind of depends on where you want to go. And he says that, his main function or his main concern right now is MCOM. Much better. Okay. So, my suggestion to Matt, who's currently studying, or was this last week, he was studying for his tech test. So who knows, by today he may actually have his license. Who knows? Anyway, my suggestion, if you want to move up, if you want to look for a base or a mobile, is get something fairly current, get something that is slightly more advanced than you think you want to be. The price for moving up in technology isn't that much, relatively speaking. And I know, some guys think, $100 is, or $100 to $200 is the entire world. And if you do, that's fine. But when I think of, in terms of the relativity of my money, the velocity of my money, if I'm going to spend $1,200 for this 705, or I am going to spend $900 for a Chinese radio that is much less, in my opinion, than what the 705 offers me. I might be saving $200 or $300 on the front end, but what I'm giving up on the back end is all of the technology that's built into the 705. So I have the same philosophy with mobiles. I'm a big fan of this FTM 400 that's over here. And let's run that screen. So if somebody else wants to call in, hey, call in. Still got 9 minutes on the show. Yeah. Big fan of the FTM 400. Likewise, I'm a fan of the ICOM 5100. I have a feeling, don't quote me on this because I have no information. I haven't talked to anybody. But if the current trend of updating things is any indication, I would say in the next year, maybe by Christmas of 2020, we're going to see an update to the ID51. What that update is going to look like, I have no idea. I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't thought about any, or I don't have any inside baseball on this, but they're still available. They're, as far as I know, in good supply. So an ID 5100 would probably be a good bet as far as a base mobile kind of a radio. The FTM 400, great radio. The FTM 300, I'm not as big of a fan of the FTM 300 as I am of the 400. And I know that it does things a little bit better in some ways, but you're giving up some other things in other ways. I like the display of the FTM 300, but without the touch screen and without the ability to do like it does here, it's more like a handheld, I guess. I don't know. I guess I would say it's more like iOS. And the 7100. Ed Lee says, don't forget about 7100. And that's true. 7100 is a great radio. I had one for years and years. And it was a great all band radio. Now, would I recommend a 7100 for a guy that's just looking into his first radio for UHF VHF comms. And that's all he's interested in. Probably not. You're probably getting a lot more radio or a different type of radio than this guy is looking for. And it seems to me like he wants something that he could put in his car or truck and or move it into the house fairly quickly and operate UHF, VHF without too much hassle and too much learning curve. Oh my Lord, my old partner, Danny. Danny, how you doing, my brother? Good to see you. From my old stomping grounds, one of my old buddies there. Let's see. People used to. All right, let me get in and look at some of these things. Let's see. Ed Lee says, yeah, 7100 works well on HF, VHF, UHF. Yes, it does. 7100 is a great radio. I just worry that it's too much radio for a guy just starting out. It's too much because this guy he's not even dreaming of HF yet. He is still a Bofang guy, and he is still studying for a tech test. So I'm thinking more of a straight UHF, VHF, maybe give him the toy or the tool of some kind of digital mode along with it, and let him get that kind of under control. Get him going with that. And then if he decides maybe I want to add HF to the mix, because I'll tell you what, as good as the 7100 is, if you really don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know what you're doing, it's kind of a pain in the ass of a radio still to use. It's not super straightforward like the 5100 is. It's not super straightforward like the FTM 400 or 300 is. So, and by all means, I know there's other mobiles out there. Alinco makes one. Anytone, Bridgetone or Bridgecom, they supply them. There's a lot of different mobile type radios, 50 watt radios, 25 watt radios that would do really, really well in both that mobile and possibly a base station configuration, and not cost you a ton and not confuse you on the back end. Let's see. Still using Robert Varner says he's still using his FT950. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong if you've got an older radio, if you've got something that's been out for a long time. And let's face it, the 5100 is it's no spring chicken. I've had 5100s now for probably 6-7 years. And in the electronics world, that's an eternity. I mean, that's 6 generations of mobile phones and TVs that have passed by. Let's see. Marty. Marty says your hardest lesson to learn is buy the best radio you can afford. be it an HT, mobile, or HF. Yep, I agree. If you can afford not to skimp, don't. You will never regret having a little bit more radio than you need at the time. But you'll always regret not buying the one that you really wanted to buy in the first place. So, let's see. Man, lunch is about done. Lunch hour is over. We'll get through a couple of these. And they need to know what repeaters are in his area. Well, he's in LA. He's in the Los Angeles area. There are a ton of repeaters, all kinds of repeaters all over the place. So no matter what a guy in Southern California is looking for, there's a game to play out there. Let's see. Dittos, Robert Garner. Great comments on my audio. I didn't hear your audio, R. Okay, Radio Adventurer. How you doing? Good to see you. And Mary says, if he has D-Star near an ICOM, if he has Yaesu Digital nearby, go with Yaesu. Yeah, and I do happen to know he's in the LA area, man. Everything is out there. So, pick your poison. Pick your poison. Anyway, guys, it is. It's one. My voice is starting to go. I knew that was going to happen. We'll switch over to the get out of here screen, and let's see. At least 17 feet of 2 meter verticals fed with LMR 400. Yeah, let's get him his test, and then once he's invested in the hobby, I think then it's time to really start schooling a guy on how to build an effective base mobile setup. Jason's in there, Ham Radio 2.0. How you doing? How you doing, my brother? And good to see you. Everybody's there. Mary Brown says on 2 meter, 70 centimeter antenna gain, more amplifier. Aluminum is cheaper than watts. Yes, it is. It is. Anyway, guys, it was good to see you today. Sorry, the voice is still a little hoarse, and I'm still kind of coming back from everything here. So, Dave in Temecula says, check out the 147.435 in LA. Yep. Anyway, guys, let's hit the music here. And I'm going to say thanks for being part of the show today. Thanks for schooling me on some of that antenna stuff and reflected power and all that good stuff. Good to hear from y'all. I want to thank my buddy Don W6GPS for calling in and being part of the show at one point. I want to thank all of you for sticking with me and jumping on this lunchtime live stream. I know Jason with Ham Radio 2.0, he's probably got something cooking, like, I don't know, anytime. He's got a video coming out every day. Good for him. And I will say 7-3, guys. I'm